Hello, everyone, and welcome to Worlds Elsewhere Theatre Company's production of Love's Labour's Lost. My name is Joshua Fader, and I am the director of tonight's production, which is a part of Worlds Elsewhere's Shakespeare in the Spring series. Thank you for joining us, either live or later on demand. For those of you watching live, we encourage you to take advantage of the live Groundlings chat if you are watching on a platform that supports it. Tickets are still available and can be purchased throughout the show. Tickets of $20 or more, purchased before intermission, will give the buyer access to our talkback with the cast and crew after tonight's performance. The link to purchase tickets, as well as a link to view the online program, are available in the video description. Worlds Elsewhere Theatre Company is a primarily US-based organization. As such, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge that the land upon which we are currently living and working came into government possession through acts of genocide, in order to help address the impacts of those acts and foster a world where such injustices are consigned to the past. WETC management is currently located on Munsee Lenape, Duwamish, and Coast Salish lands specifically. Please see the program for the list of the native lands upon which the cast and crew members of Love's Labour's Lost currently reside. Thank you for joining us for this performance. Now, please turn off your cell phones, unless you are watching on your phone, of course, and join us for an evening of love and learning, wit and wordplay with William Shakespeare's Love's Labour's Lost.
Let fame, that all hunt after in their lives, live registered upon our brazen tombs, and then grace us in the disgrace of death when, spite of cormorant devouring time, the endeavor of this present breath may buy that honor which shall bait his sight's keen edge and make us heirs of all eternity. Navarre shall be the wonder of the world. Our court shall be a little academe, still and contemplative in living art. You three, Barone, Dumaine, and Longueville, have sworn for 3 years' term to live with me, my fellow scholars, and to keep those statutes that are recorded in this schedule here. Your oaths are passed, and now subscribe your names, that their own hand may strike their honor down that violates the smallest branch herein.
I am resolved. 'Tis but a 3 years fast. The mind shall banquet, though the body pine. Large paunches have lean pates, and dainty bits make rich the ribs.
My loving lord, Dumaine is mortified. The grosser manner of these world's delight she throws upon the gross world's baser fools. To love, to wealth, to pomp, I pine and die with all these living in philosophy.
I can say but their protestation over. So much, dear liege, have I already sworn, that is to live and study here 3 year. But there are other strict observances, as not to see a lover in that term, which I hope well is not enrolled there. And 1 day in a week to touch no food, and but 1 meal on every day beside, the which I hope is not enrolled there. And to sleep but 3 hours of the night, and not be seen to wink of all the day, the which I hope well is not enrolled there. These are barren tasks, too hard to keep. To see no lover, study, fast, not sleep.
Your oath is passed to pass away from these.
Let me say no, my liege, and if you please, I only swore to study with your grace and stay within your court 3 years' space.
You swore to that, Barone, and to the...
By yea and nay, sir. Then I swore in jest. What is the end of study? Let me know.
Why, that to know which else we should not know.
Why, come then. I will swear to study so, to know the thing I do not know. As such, to study where I well may dine, when I to feast expressly am forbid. Or study where to meet some lover fine, when romance from common sense are hid. If study's gain be this, and this be so, study know that which yet it doth not know. Swear me to this, and I will ne'er say no.
These be the stops that hinder study quite, and train our intellects to vain delight.
Why, all delights are vain, but that most vain with which pain purchased doth inherit pain, as painfully to pore upon a book, to seek the light of truth, while truth the while doth falsely blind the eyesight of his look. Study is like heaven's glorious sun, it shall not be deep searched with saucy looks. Steady have continual plodders ever won, save base authority from others' books.
Well, he's read to reason against reading.
Proceeded well to stop all good proceeding.
The call.
Spring is near when green geese are a-breeding.
Barone is like an envious sleeping frost that bites the firstborn infants at the spring.
Well, say that I am. Why should proud summer have cause to boast before birds have any cause to sing?
Well, sit you out. Go home, Barone. Adieu.
No, my lord. I have sworn to stay with you. Give me the paper. Let me read the same. To the strictest decree, I shall write my name.
How well this yielding rescues thee from shame.
Item, that no outsider shall come within a mile of my court. Hath this been proclaimed?
4 days ago.
Let's see the penalty. On pain of losing their tongue. Who devised this penalty?
Mary, that did I.
And sweet Lord, why? Dangerous law against gentility. Item, if anyone be seen to talk with an outsider within the term of 3 years, they shall endure such public shame as the rest of the court can possibly devise. This article, my liege, yourself must break. For well you know, here come in embassy the French king's daughter to speak with you. About surrender up of Aquitaine to her sick, crept, bedrid father? Is this...
What say you, lords? Why, this was quite forgot.
To study evermore is our shot.
We must, of force, dispense with this decree. She must lie here on mere necessity.
Necessity will make us all forsworn 3,000 times within 3 years' space. For every man with his effect is born, not by might mastered, but by special grace. If I break faith, this word shall speak for me. I am forsworn on mere necessity. So to the laws at large, I write my name. And he that stand the break them in the least decree, stand in a tender of eternal shame. Now, suggestions are to others as to me, but is there no quick recreation granted?
Aye, that there is. Our court, you know, is haunted with a refined traveler of Spain. A man in all the world's new fashion planted that hath them into phrases in his brain. This child of fancy, that Armado height, from interim to our studies shall relate in high-born words the worth of many a night from tawny Spain lost in the world's debate. And I do believe Costard the Swain and
he shall be our sport, and so to study. 3 years.
Hey, which is the Duke's own person?
This fellow, what wouldst?
Oh, I myself reprehend her own person, for I am her Grace of Starborough, but I would know her person in flesh and blood.
This is she.
Senior Armado, Senior he commends you. There's villainy abroad. This letter will tell you more.
Sir, the contempts thereof are as touching me.
A letter from the magnificent Armado.
Be it as the star shall give us cause to rise in the merriness.
The matter is to me, sir, as concerning Jacquinetta, the manner of it is, I was taken with the manner.
In what manner?
In manner and form following, ma'am. I was seen with her in the manor house, sitting with her upon the form, and taken following her into the park, which put together is in manner and form following.
Will you hear this letter with attention?
As we would an oracle.
Such is the simplicity of humans to hearken after the flesh.
Great deputy, the Welkins vicegerent and sole dominator of Navarre, my soul's earth god and body's fostering patron.
Not a word of costard yet.
So it is. Besieged with sable-colored melancholy, I did commend the black oppressing humor to the most wholesome physic of thy health-giving air. And as I am a gentleman, betook myself to walk. The time when? About the 6th hour, when beasts most graze, birds best peck, and men sit down to that nourishment which is called supper. Then for the place where I did encounter that obscene and preposterous event that draweth from my snow-white pen the eben-coloured ink, which here thou viewest, beholdest, surveyest, or seest. There did I see that low-spirited swain, that base minnow of thy mirth.
Me?
That unlettered, small-knowing soul.
Me?
That shallow vassal.
Still me?
Which, as I remember, I custard.
Oh, me!
Sorted and consorted contrary to thy established proclaimed edict and continent canon, which with I passion to say wherewith.
With a beauty.
With the child of our grandmother Eve, a female. I, as my ever-esteemed duty pricks me on, have sent to thee to receive the meed of punishment by thy sweet grace's officer, Anthony Dull.
Me! Me. And it please you, I am Anthony Dull.
For Jacquinetta, so is the weaker vessel called, which I apprehended with the aforesaid swain. I keep her as a vessel of the law's fury, and shall bring her to trial. Thine in all compliments of devoted and heart-burning heat of duty, Don Adriano de Armado.
Not the best I hoped for, but the best I ever heard.
Aye, the best. For the worst. But what say you of this?
I confess the maid.
Did you hear the proclamation?
I do confess much of the hearing it, but little of the marking of it.
It was proclaimed a year's imprisonment to be taken with a maid.
I was taken with none, ma'am. I was taken with a damsel.
Oh, it was proclaimed damsel.
This was no damsel, neither, ma'am. I was taken with a lady.
This lady will not serve your turn.
This lady will serve my turn.
Well, I will pronounce your sentence. You shall fast a week with bran and water.
I had rather pray a month with mutton and porridge.
And Don Armado shall be your keeper. My Lord Barone, see her delivered over. And go we, lords, to put in practice that which each to other hath so strongly sworn.
Fool, come on.
I suffer for the truth, sir. For true it is, I was taken with Jacquinetta. Jacquinetta is a true girl. Affliction may one day smile again. Until then, sit thee down, sorrow.
There we go, moth. What sign is it when a man of great spirit grows melancholy?
A great sign, sir, that he will look sad.
Why, sadness is one and the self-same thing, dear child.
No, oh, sir, no.
How canst thou part sadness and melancholy, my tender juvenile?
By a familiar demonstration of the working, my tough senior.
Pretty and apt.
How mean you, sir? I pretty and my saying apt, or I apt and my saying pretty?
Thou pretty because little.
Little pretty because little? Wherefore apt?
And therefore apt because quick.
Oh, speak you this in my praise, master?
In thy condign praise. I have promised to study 3 years with the Duke.
You may do it in an hour, sir.
Impossible.
How many is one thrice told?
It doth amount to 1 more than 2.
Which the base vulgar do call 3.
True.
Why, sir, is this such a piece of study? Now here is 3 studied, ere you'll thrice wink, and how easy it is to put years to the word 3 and study 3 years in 2 words.
A most fine figure.
To prove you a cipher.
Oh, I hereupon confess I am in love. And as it is base for a soldier to love, so I am in love with a base maid. I think scorn to sigh. Methinks I should outswear Cupid. Comfort me, page. What great men have been in love?
Hercules, master.
Most sweet Hercules. More authority, dear moth. Name more, and sweet my child, let them be men of good repute and carriage.
Samson, master. He was a man of good carriage, great carriage, for he carried the town gates on his back like a porter. And he was in love.
Oh, well-knit Samson, strong-jointed Samson, I do excel thee in my rapier as much as thou didst me in carrying gates. I am in love too. Who was Samson's love, my dear moth?
A woman, master.
Of what complexion?
Oh, of the sea-water green, sir.
Is that one of the 4 complexions?
As I have read, sir, and the best of them, too.
My love is most immaculate white and red.
Most immaculate thoughts are masked under such colors.
Define, well-educated infant.
If she be made of white and red, her faults will ne'er be known, for blushing cheeks by faults are bred, and fears by pale white shown. A dangerous rhyme, master, against the reason of white and red.
Is there not a ballad of the king and the beggar?
The world was very guilty of such a ballad some 3 ages since, but I think now 'tis not to be found, or if it were, it would neither serve for the writing nor the tune.
I will have that subject newly writ o'er, that I may example my digression by some mighty president. Oh, I do love that country girl that I saw in the park with the rational hind costard. She deserves well.
To be whipped. And yet a better love than my master.
Oh, sing. My spirit grows heavy in love.
Forbear, till this company be past.
Sir, the Duke's pleasure is that you keep custody safe, and that you must suffer them to take no penalty nor no delight. Now, they must fast 3 days a week. For this damsel, I must keep her at the park. She is allowed for the day, woman. Fare you well.
I do betray myself with blushing. Maid!
Man!
I will visit thee at the lodge.
That's hereby.
I know where it is situate.
Lord, how wise you are.
I will tell thee wonders.
With that face?
I love thee.
So I heard you say.
And so farewell.
Fair weather after you.
Come, Jacquelinetta, away.
Villain, thou shalt fast for thy offences ere thou be pardoned.
Well, sir, I hope when I do it, I shall do it on a full stomach.
Take away this villain. Shut them up.
Come, you transgressing fool. Away.
Let me not be pent up. I will fast, being loose.
No, that were fast and loose. Thou shalt to prison.
Well, if I ever do see the merry days of desolation that I have seen, some shall see.
What shall some see?
Nay, nothing, Master Moth, but what they look upon. It is not for prisoners to be too silent in their words, and therefore I will say nothing.
I do affect the very ground, which is base. Wear her shoe, which is baser, guided by her foot, which is basest doth tread. I shall be forsworn, which is a great argument of falsehood if I love. And how could that be true love, which is falsely attempted? Love is a familiar. Love is a devil. There is no evil angel but love. Yet was Samson so seduced, and he had an excellent strength. Yet was Solomon so tempted, and he had a very good wit. Cupid's butt shaft is too hard for Hercules' club, and therefore too much odds for a Spaniard's rapier. Adieu, valor! Rust, rapier! Be still, drum, for your manager's in love! Yea, he loveth. Assist me, some extemporal god of rhyme, for I am sure I shall turn sonnet. Devise wit, write pen, for I am for whole volumes in folio.
Now, madame, summon up your dearest spirits. Consider who the king your father sends, to whom he sends, and what's his embassy? Yourself, held precious in the world's esteem, to parley with the sole inheritor of all perfections that a man may owe, matchless Navarre. The plea of no less weight than Aquitaine, a dowry for a queen.
And now to task the tasker. Good boyette, you are not ignorant. All telling fame doth noise abroad. Navarre hath made a vow, till painful study shall outwear 3 years, no other may approach her silent court. Therefore, to us seemeth it a needful course, before we enter her forbidden gates, to know her pleasure, and in that behalf, bold of your worthiness, we single you as our best moving fair solicitor. Tell her, the daughter of the King of France, on serious business, craving quick dispatch, importunes personal conference with her grace.
Proud of employment, willingly I go.
All pride is willing pride, and yours is so. Who are the votaries, my dearest friends, that are vow fellows with this virtuous duke?
Lord Longaville is one.
Know you the man?
I know him. Madam, at a marriage feast in Normandy saw I this Longaville. A man of sovereign parts he is esteemed, well fitted in arts, glorious in arms. Nothing becomes him ill that he would well. The only soil of his fair virtue's gloss is a sharp wit matched with too blunt a will.
Some merry mocking lord belike. Is it so?
They say so most that most his humors know.
Such short-lived wits do wither as they grow. Who are the rest?
The young Dumaine, a well-accomplished youth, of all that virtue love for virtue loved,
most power to do most harm, least knowing ill. For she hath wit to make an ill shape good, and shape to win grace, though she had no wit. I saw her at the Duke Alison's once, and much too little of that good I saw is my report to her great worthiness.
Another of these students at the time was there with her, if I have heard a truth. Baron, they call him. But a merrier man I never spent an hour's talk withal. His eye begets occasion for his wit. For every object that the one doth catch, the other turns to a mirth-moving jest, which his fair tongue, conceits expositor, delivers in such apt and gracious words, so sweet and voluble is his discourse.
God bless my cohort. Are you all in love? That everyone your own hath garnished with such bedecking ornaments of praise?
Here comes Boyette.
Now, what admittance, Lord?
Navarre had notice of your fair approach before I came. Mary, thus much I have learned. She rather means to lodge you in the field, like one that comes to besiege her court, then seek a dispensation for her oath to let you enter her unpeopled house. Here comes Navarre.
Fair princess, welcome to the court of Navarre.
Fair, I give you back again, and welcome I have not yet. The roof of this court is too high to be yours, and welcome to the wide fields too base to be mine.
You shall be welcome, madam, to my court.
I will be welcome then. Conduct me thither.
Hear me, dear lady. I have sworn an oath.
Why, will shall break it. Will and nothing else.
Your ladyship is ignorant what it is.
Were my lord so? Her ignorance were wise, where now her knowledge must prove ignorance. I hear your grace hath sworn out housekeeping. 'Tis deadly sin to keep that oath, my lord, and sin to break it. But pardon me, I am too sudden bold. To teach a teacher ill beseemeth me. Vouchsafe to read the purpose of my coming and suddenly resolve me in my suit.
Madam, I will, if suddenly I may.
You will the sooner that I were away, for you'll prove perjured if you make me stay.
Did not I dance with you at Brabant once?
Did not I dance with you in Brabant once?
I know you did.
How needless was it then to ask the question?
You must not be so quick.
'Tis long of you that spur me with such questions.
Oh, it is too hot. Speed's too fast. 'Twill tire.
Not till it leave the rider in the mire.
What time of day?
The hour that fools should ask.
I am fair before your mask,
If all the face it covers.
and send you many lovers.
Amen. So you be none.
Nay. Oh, well, then I'll be gone.
Madam, your father here doth intimate the payment of 100,000 crowns, being
Yes,
but
he-
1/2 of an entire sum dispersed by my father in his wars. But say that he or we, as neither have, received that sum, yet there remains unpaid 100,000 more, in surety of the which one part Aquitaine is bound to us. If then your king the father will restore but that 1/2 which is unsatisfied, we will give up our right in Aquitaine and hold fair friendship with his majesty. But that, it seems, he little purposeth, for here he doth demand to have repaid 100,000 crowns, and not demands on payment of 100,000 crowns to have his title live in Aquitaine.
You do the king my father too much wrong, and wrong the reputation of your name in so unseeming to confess receipt of that which hath so faithfully been paid.
I do protest. I never heard of it. And if you prove it, I'll repay it back or yield it Aquitaine.
We arrest your word. Boyette, you can produce acquaintances of such a sum from special officers of Charles, her father.
Satisfy me so.
So please, Your Grace, the packet is not come where that and other specialties are bound. Tomorrow you shall have a sight of them.
It shall suffice me, at which interview all liberal reason I will yield unto. Meantime, receive such welcome at my hand as honor without breach of honor may make tender of to thy true worthiness. You may not come, fair princess, in my gates, but here, without you shall be so received. Your own good thoughts excuse me, and farewell. Tomorrow shall we visit you again.
Sweet health and fair desires consort your grace.
Thy own wish I thee in every place.
Pray you, sir, a word. What lady is that same?
The heir of Alençon, Catherine, her name.
A gallant lady. Monsieur, fare you well.
Psst. I beseech you a word. What are they in the grey?
A person sometimes, and you saw them in the day.
Perchance light in the light. I desire their name.
They have but one for themselves. To desire that were a shame.
Pray you, sir, whose child?
Their mothers, I have heard.
God's blessing on your beard.
Good sir, be not offended. They are an heir of Falconbridge.
Nay, my collar is ended. They are a most sweet noble.
What is her name in the cap?
Rosaline, by good hap.
Is she married or no?
To her will, sir, or so.
You are most welcome, sir. Adieu.
Farewell to me, sir, and welcome to you.
That last is Barone, the merry madcap lord. Not a word with him, but a jest.
Every jest but a word. If my observation, which very seldom lies, by the heart still rhetoric disclosed with eyes, deceive me not now, Navarre is infected.
With what?
With that which we lovers entitle affected.
Your reason?
Why, all her behaviors did make their retire to the court of her eye, peeping through desire, her heart like an agate with your print impressed, proud with her form, in her eye pride expressed. All senses to that sense did make their repair, to feel only looking on fairest of fair. I'll give you Aquitaine and all that is hers, and you give her for my sake but one loving kiss.
Come to our pavilion. Boyette is disposed.
But to speak that in words which as I have disclosed.
Thou art an old love-monger and speakest skillfully.
Do you hear, fair nobles?
No.
What then do you see?
Aye, begone.
You are too hard for me.
Go! Tenderness of years! Take this key, bring the swain hither. I must employ them in a letter to my love.
But master, will you in your love with a French brawl?
How meanest thou? Brawling in French!
No, my complete master, but to jig off a tune at a tongue's end, canary to it with your feet, sigh a note and sing a note, sometime through the throat, as if you swallowed love with singing love, sometime through the nose, as if you snuffed up love by smelling love.
How hast thou purchased this experience?
By a penny of my observation. But have you forgot your love?
Almost I had.
Oh, negligent student, learn her by heart.
By heart and in heart, child.
And out of heart, master, all those three, I will prove.
What wilt thou prove?
This, by, in, and without, upon the instant. By heart you love her because your heart cannot come by her. In heart you love her because your heart is in love with her. And out of heart you love her, but being out of heart that you cannot enjoy her.
I am all these three.
And 3 times as much more, and yet nothing at all.
Fetch hither the swain. They must carry me a letter.
I go. Swift as lead, sir.
The meaning, pretty ingenious. Is lead not a metal heavy, dull, and slow?
You are too swift, sir, to say so. Is that lead slow which is fired from a gun?
Sweet smoke of rhetoric! She reputes me a cannon, and the bullet, that's she. I shoot thee at the swain.
Front then, and I flee!
A most acute juvenile, voluble and free of grace. By thy favor, sweet welkin, I must sigh in thy face.
Look, master, wonder, a costard broken in a shin.
Some enigma, some riddle. Come, the l'envoy, begin.
No enigma, no riddle, no l'envoy, sir, but a plantain.
Oh, by virtue, thou enforcest laughter. The heaving of my lungs provokes me to ridiculous smiling.
But what is a l'envoy?
It is an epilogue, or discourse, to make plain some obscure precedents that hath tofore been sane. I will example it. The fox, the ape, and the humble bee were still at odds, being but 3. There's the moral, and now the l'envoy.
I will add the l'envoy. Say the moral again.
The fox, the ape, and the humble bee were still at odds, being but 3.
Until the goose came out of door and stayed the odds by adding 4. A good l'envoy ending in the goose. Would you desire more?
The boy hath sold him a bargain, a goose that's flat. Sir, your pennyworth is good and your goose be fat.
Come hither, how did this argument begin?
By saying that costard was broken in his shin, then called you for the l'envoy?
True, and I for a plantain.
But tell me, how was there a costard broken in a shin?
Well, costard, running out that was safely within, fell over the threshold and broke my shin.
We will talk no more of this matter.
Will there be more matter in the shin?
Costard, I will enfranchise thee.
Oh, marry me to one Francis?
By my sweet soul, I mean setting thee at liberty, and freedoming thy person. Thou wert immured, restrained, captivated, bound.
True, and now you will be my purgation and let me loose?
I give thee thy liberty, and in lieu thereof impose on thee nothing but this. Bear this significant to the country-made Jaquanetta. There is remuneration, for the best ward of mine honor is rewarding my dependents. Moth, follow.
Oh. I like the sequel eye. Costard, adieu.
Oh, my sweet ounce of man's flesh! Now will I look to his remuneration. Remuneration? No. Remuneration. Remuneration! Oh, that's the Latin word for 3 farthings. 3 farthings. Remuneration. What's the price for this inkle? 1 penny. No, I shall give you a remuneration. Remuneration! Why, it's a fairer word than the French crown. I'll never buy and sell out of this word.
Oh, my good knave Costard! Exceedingly well met.
Pray you, sir, how much carnation ribbon may a man buy for a remuneration?
What is a remuneration?
Marry, sir, halfpenny farthing.
Oh, why, 3 farthings worth of silk.
I thank your worship. God be with you.
Stay, fool. I must employ thee. As that will win my favor, good my knave, do this one thing for me, I shall entreat.
When would you have it done, sir?
This afternoon.
Well, I will do it, sir. Fare you well.
Thou must know it first.
Well, I will do it, sir, when I have done it.
Villain, thou knowest not what it is.
Well, I'll come to your worship tomorrow morning.
It must be done this afternoon. Hark! It is but this. The princess come here to hunt in the park, and in her train is a gentle lady, and Rosaline they call her. Ask for her, and to her sweet hound see thou do commend this sealed upon counsel. Here thy Gordon. Go.
Pardon. Oh, sweet garden. It's better than remuneration. 11 pence farthing better. Oh, most sweet Gardon. I will do it, sir, in print. Gardon, remuneration.
And I, forsooth, in love. What, I, that have been love's whip, a very beadle to a humorous sigh, a critic, nay, a night watch constable, a domineering pedant o'er the boy than whom no mortal so magnificent. This wimpled, whining, purblind, wayward boy, liege of all loiterers, Dan Cupid, regent of love rhymes, lord of folded arms, anointed sovereign of sighs and groans, sole imperator and great general are trotting paratist. Oh, my little heart. And I to be a corporal in his field, and wear his cumblers like a tumbler's hoop. What, I love Sue. Seek a wife. Ugh. A woman that is like a German clock, still a repairing, ever out of frame, and never going aright being watched, but being watched that she may still go right. Nay, to be perjured, which is worst of all. And of the three to love the worst of all, and I to sigh for her, pray for her, to watch for her. Ah, no, go to! It is a plague that Cupid will impose upon me for my neglect of his almighty, dreadful little might. Well, I will love, write, sigh, pray, sue, and groan. Some men must love my lady, and some Joan.
Was that the king that spurred her horse so hard against the steep uprising of the hill?
I know not, but I think it was not she.
Whoever it was, showed a mounting mind. Well, friends, today we shall have our dispatch. On Saturday, we will return to France. Boyette, my dear friend, where is the bush that we must stand and play the hunter in?
Hereby, upon the edge of yonder coppice, stand where you may make the fairest shoot.
But come, the bow. And now mercy goes to kill, and shooting well is then accounted ill.
Here comes a member of the Commonwealth.
God to Godin, all. Pray you, which is the head lady?
Thou shalt know her, fellow, by the rest that have no heads.
Which is the greatest lady, the highest?
The thickest and the tallest.
The thickest and the tallest. It is so, truth is truth. Are you not the chief woman? You are the thickest here.
What's your will, ma'am? What is your will?
I have a letter from one Monsieur Baron to one Lady Rosaline.
Oh, thy letter! Thy letter! He's a good friend of mine. Stand aside, good bearer. Well, yet, you can carve. Break up this capon.
I am bound to serve. Ooh, this letter is mistook. It importeth none here. It's writ to Jacanetta.
We will read it, I swear. Break the neck of the wax, and everyone, give ear.
By heaven that thou art fair is most infallible. True that thou art beauteous, truth itself that thou art lovely. The magnanimous and most illustrate King Cophetua set eye upon the pernicious and indubitate beggar Xenophon, and he it was that might rightly say, Veni vidi vici, he came, saw, and overcame. I am the king, for so stands the comparison. Thou the beggar, for so witnesseth thy lowliness. Shall I command thy love? I may. Shall I enforce thy love? I could. Shall I entreat thy love? I will. Thus, expecting thy reply, I profane my lips on thy foot, my eyes on thy picture, and my heart on thy every part. Thine in the dearest design of industry, Don Adriano de Armado.
What plume of feathers is he that indited this letter? What vein? What weathercock? Did you ever hear better?
This Armado is a Spaniard that keeps here in court, fantasy, monarcho, one that makes sport of the prince and his bookmates.
Thou, fellow, a word. Who gave thee this letter?
I told you, my lord.
To whom shouldst thou give it?
From my lord to my lady.
From which lord to which lady?
From my lord Baron, a good master of mine, to a lady of France that he called Rosaline.
Thou hast mistaken his letter. Come, friends, away. Here, sweet, put up this. 'Twill be thine another day.
Who is the suitor?
Shall I teach you to know?
I, my continent of beauty.
Why, she that bears the bow. I am the shooter.
And who is your dear?
If we choose by the horns, yourself come not near.
By my troth, most pleasant. How both did fit it.
A mark marvelous well shot, for they both did hit it.
Good night, my good owl.
Oh, by my soul, a swain, a most simple clown. Lord, Lord, how these nobles and I have put him down. Armado on the one side, a most dainty man. To see him walk before a lady and to bear her fan. And his page on the other side, that little handful of wit. Heavens, it is the most pathetical knit.
Very reverend sport, truly, and done in the testimony of a good conscience.
The deer was, as you know, sanguine, in blood, ripe as the palm water, and anon falleth like a crab on the face of the terra, the land, the soil, the earth.
Truly, Mistress Holofernes, the epithets are sweetly varied, like a scholar at the least. But, ma'am, I assure ye, it was a buck of the first head.
Sir Nathaniel had credo.
Aye, 'twas not an old grey doe, 'twas a pricket.
Most barbarous intimation, yet a kind of insinuation, as it were, in via in way of explication, facari, as it were, a replication, or rather ostentary, to show, as it were, his inclination after his undressed, unpolished, uneducated, unpruned, untrained, or rather unlettered, or ratherest unconfirmed fashion, to insert again my hard cradle for a deer.
I said the deer was not an old grey doe, 'twas a pricket.
Twice sawed simplicity his coctus. Oh, thou monster ignorance, how deformed dost thou look?
Ma'am, he hath never fed of the dainties that are bred in a book. He hath not eat paper. He hath not drunk ink. He is only an animal, only sensible in the duller parts, and such barren plants are set before us that we thankful should be that those parts do fructify in us more than he.
You two are book learned. Can you tell me by your wit what was a month old at Cain's birth that's not 5 weeks old as yet?
The moon was a month old when Adam was no more, and wrought not 5 weeks when he came to 50. The illusion holds in the exchange.
'Tis true, the collusion holds in the exchange.
God comfort thy capacity. I say the illusion holds in the exchange.
And I say the collusion holds in the exchange, for the moon is never but a month old, and I say besides that 'twas a pricket that the princess killed.
Sir Nathaniel, will you hear an extemporal epitaph on the death of the deer? And to humour the ignorant, call I the deer the princess killed a pricket.
Perge, good Mistress Holofernes, perge, so it shall please you to abrogate scurrility.
I will somewhat affect the letter, for it argues facility. The prayful princess pierced and pricked a pretty pleasing pricket. Some say a sore, but not a sore, till now made sore with shooting. The dogs did yell, but ell to ell, then sorrel jumps from thicket, or pricket sore, or else sorrel. The people fall a hooting. If sore be sore, then ell to ell makes 50 sores one sorrel. Of one sore I 100 make, by adding but one more ell.
Ah, a rare talent!
If a talent be a claw, look how she claws her with the talent.
This is a gift that I have. Simple, a foolish, extravagant spirit, full of forms, figures, shapes, objects, ideas, apprehensions, motions, revolutions. But the gift is good in those in whom it is acute, and I am thankful for it.
Ma'am, I praise the Lord for you, and so may my parishioners, for their children are well tutored by you. You are a good member of the Commonwealth.
God give you good morrow, Master Parson.
Master Parson?
Oh, Mary, Mistress Schoolmistress. Master Parson, be so good as to read me this letter that was given to Jacquinetta by me, and I will relay the information. It is from Don Armado. I beseech you, read it.
Fauste procure Galinda quando peccas ab omne umbra ruminat, and so forth. Ah, good old Mantuan, who understands thee not, loves thee not. Sola me fo- Under pardon, sir. What are the contents? Horace says in his What's My Soul verses.
Aye, ma'am, and very learned.
Let me hear a stanza, a verse, Leggy Domine.
If love make me forsworn, how shall I swear to love? Ah, never faith could hold if not to beauty vowed. Though to myself forsworn, to thee I'll faithful prove. Those thoughts to me were oaks, to thee like osiers bowed. Study his bias leaves, and make his book thine eyes, where all those pleasures live that art would comprehend. If knowledge be the mark, to know thee shall suffice. Well learned is that tongue that well can thee commend, all ignorant that soul that sees thee without wonder, which is to me some praise that I thy parts admire. Thy eye Jove's lightning bears, thy voice his dreadful thunder, which not to anger bent is music and sweet fire. Celestial as thou art, oh pardon, love, this wrong that sings heaven's praise with such an earthly tongue.
You find not the apostrophus, and so miss the accent. Let me supervise the canzonet. Here are only numbers ratified, but for the elegancy, facility, and golden cadence of poesy. Carat. But, demoiselle, was this a letter directed to you?
Aye, ma'am, from Don Armado.
I will overglance the superscript. To the most beauteous Lady Rosalind. I will look again on the intellect of the letter for the nomination of the party writing to the person written unto. Your ladyship's and all desired employment, Baron. Sir Nathaniel, this Baron is one of the votaries of the king, and here he hath framed a letter to a sequent of the stranger queens, which accidentally or by way of progression hath miscarried. Tip and go, my sweet. Deliver this paper into the royal hand of the king. It may concern much. Stay not thy compliment. I forgive thy duty. Adieu.
Good Costard, go with me. Ma'am, God save your life.
Have with thee, my girl.
Ma'am, you have done this in the fear of God, very religiously.
But to return to the verses, did they please you, Sir Nathaniel?
Marvelous well for the pen.
Well, I do dine today at the father's of a certain pupil of mine, where, if before repast, it shall please you to gratify the table with a grace, I will prove those verses to be very unlearned, neither savouring of poetry, wit, nor invention. I beseech your society.
And I thank you too, for society, saith the text, is the happiness of life.
And certes the text most infallibly concludes it. Dull, I do invite you too. You shall not say me nay, puck verba. Away! The gentles are at their game. We will to our recreation.
Yeah. The king, she is hunting the deer. I am coursing myself. They are pitching in a toil. I am toiling in a pitch that defiles. I will not love. If I do, hang me. Oh, but her eye, by heaven, I do love, and it hath taught me to rhyme, be melancholy. Well, she hath one of my sonnets already. Clown bore it, the fool sent it. Lady hath it. Sweet clown, sweet fool, sweeter lady. Oh, by the world, I would not care a pin if the other three were in. Here comes one with paper.
Ay me.
Shot! Shot by heaven! In faith, sweet Cupid's secrets.
So sweet, a kiss the golden sun gives not, as thy eye beams, when their fresh rays have smote the night of dew that on my cheeks down flows. Nor shines the silver moon one half so bright through the transparent bosom of the deep, as doth thy face through tears of mine give light. Thou shinest in every tear that I do weep, no drop but as a coach to carry thee. So ridest thou triumphing in my woe. Do but behold the tears that swell in me, and they thy glory through my grief will show. But do not love thyself. Then thou wilt keep my tears for glasses and still make me weep. Oh, queen of queens, how far dost thou excel? No thought can think, nor tongue of mortal tell.
Oh,
Who is he comes here? What? Longaville and reading. Listen, ear.
Now in thy likeness one more fool appear.
why me? I am forsworn. Am I the first that have been perjured so? I fear these stubborn lives lack power to move. Oh, sweet Maria, sovereign of my love. Did not the heavenly rhetoric of thine eye, gainst whom the world could not hold argument, persuade my heart to this false perjury? Vows for thee broke deserve not punishment. A lover I forswore, but I will prove, thou being a deity, I forswore not thee. My vow was earthly, thou a heavenly love. Thy grace being gained cures all disgrace in me. Vows are but breath, and breath a vapor is. Then thou, fair sun, which on my earth dost shine, exhalest this vapor vow. In thee it is. If broken, then, it is no fault of mine. If by me broke, what fool is not so wise to lose an oath, to win a paradise?
God amend us. God amend, we are much out of the way.
By whom shall I send this? Company,
Kate.
stay!
Domain transformed, full woodcocks in a dish.
Oh, most divine Kate. Oh, that I had my wish.
And I had mine.
And I mine too, good Lord.
Amen, say I.
I would forget her, but a fever she reigns in my blood and will remember it be. Once more, I'll read the ode that I have writ. On a day, alack, the day, love whose month is ever May, spied a blossom passing fair, playing in the wanton air. Through the velvet leaves the wind all unseen can passage find. That the lover, sick to death, wish herself the heaven's breath. Ere, quoth she, thy cheeks do blow, ere would I might triumph so. But alack, my hand is sworn, ne'er to pluck thee from thy thorn. Thou, alack, though were youth unmeet, youth so apt to pluck a sweet. Do not call it sin in me that I am forsworn for thee, and deny herself for Jove, turning mortal for thy low. This will I send, and something else more plain, that shall express my true love's fasting pain. Oh, that the King, Barone, and Longaville were lovers too.
Domain! Domain! Dumaine, thy love is far from charity. You look pale, but I should blush, I know, to be o'erheard and taken napping so.
Come, sir, you blush. And her your case is such, you chide at her, offending twice as much. You do not love Maria. Longueville did never sonnet for their sake compile. I have been closely shrouded in this bush, and marked you both, and for you both did blush. I heard your guilty rhymes, observed your fashion, saw sighs reek from you, noted well your passion. What will Baron say when that he shall hear faith so infringed, which such zeal did swear? How will he scorn? How will he spend his wit? How will he triumph, leap, and laugh at it?
Now step forth I to whip hypocrisy. Oh, good my liege. Pray thee, pardon me. Good heart, what grace hast thou thus to reprove these worms for loving that art most in love? Your eyes do hold no coaches. In your tears there is no certain princess that appears. You'll not be perjured. 'Tis a hateful thing. Tush! None but poets like on sonneting. But are you not ashamed? Nay, are you not all three to be thus much o'ershot?
Are we betrayed thus to thy overview?
Not you betrayed to me, I betrayed by you, I that am honest, I that hold it a sin to break the vow I am in. I am betrayed by keeping company with those like you of such inconstancy. When will you see me write a thing in rhyme, or groan for love, or spend a minute's time in pruning me? When will you see me grace a hand, a foot, a face, an eye?
God bless the king.
What present hast thou there?
Some certain treason.
Treason.
What makes treason here?
Nay, it makes nothing, ma'am.
If it mar nothing, neither the treason and you go away in peace together.
I beseech your grace, let this letter be read. Our parson misdoubts it. 'Twas treason, they said.
Baron, read it over. Where hadst thou it?
Of Costard.
Where hadst thou it?
Duna de Maria da Dio of Dune Armadillo.
How now? What is in you? Why dost thou tear it?
A toy, my liege, a toy, your grace need not fear it.
It did move him to passion, and therefore let's hear it.
It is Baron's writing, and here is his name.
No, yeah, good. Guilty. Guilty, my lord, I confess.
What?
That you three fools lacked me the fool to make up the mess. He, she, you, my liege, and I are all picked purses in love, and we deserve to die. Oh, dismiss this audience and I shall tell you more.
Now the number is even.
True, we are a four. Will these turtles not be gone?
Hence, sirs, away.
Walk aside the true folk and let the traitors stay.
Oh, sweet lords, sweet lovers, let us embrace. We cannot cross the cause why we were born, therefore of all hands we must be forsworn.
What? Did these rent lines show some love of thine?
Did they, quoth you? Who can see the heavenly Rosaline that is not blinded by her majesty?
What zeal, what fury hath inspired thee now? My love, her mistress, is a gracious moon. She, an attending star, scarce seen a light.
Then my eyes are no eyes, nor I Barone. Oh, but for my love, day would turn to night. 'Tis the sun that make all things shine.
But what of this? Are we not all in love?
Nothing so sure, and therefore all forsworn.
Then leave this chat, and, good Barone, now prove our loving lawful and our faith not torn.
I marry that, some flattery for this evil.
Oh, some authority, how to proceed, some tricks, some quillets, how to cheat the devil.
Some salve for some salve, please.
'Tis more than need. Consider what you first did swear unto, to fast, to study, to see no lover. Flat treason against the kingly state of youth. Say, can you fast? Your stomachs are too young, and abstinence engenders maladies. And where is any author in the world teaches beauty such as a lover's eye? Oh, we have made a vow to study, lords, and in that vow we have forsworn our books. For where would you, my liege, or you, in leaden contemplation have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutor have enriched you with? Other slow arts keep entirely the brain, but love, first learned in a lover's eye, lives not alone immured in the brain, but with the motion of all elements, courses as swift as thought in every power, and gives every power but double power. A lover's eye will stare an eagle blind. A lover's ear will hear the lowest of sounds. And when love speaks, the voice of all the gods make heaven drowsy with the harmony. From lover's eye, this doctrine I derive. They sparkle still the right Promethean fire. They are the books, the arts, the academes that show, contain, and nourish all the world, else none at all in aught prove excellent. Thus fools you were to this passion to forswear, or keeping what is sworn, you will prove fools. Let us once lose our oaths to find ourselves, or else we keep ourselves to find our oaths.
Say Cupid then, and soldiers to the field.
Advance your standards and upon them, lords.
Now to plain dealing, ladies, gloses by. Shall we resolve to woo these friends of France?
And win them too. Therefore, let us devise some entertainment for them in their tents.
First, let us conduct them thither. We will, with some strange pastime, solace them, such as the shortness of time can shape, for revels, dances, masques, merry hours, for run fair love strewn her way with flowers.
Away, away, no time shall be omitted, that will betime, and may by us be fitted.
That is quite sufficient.
I praise God for you, ma'am. Your reasons at dinner have been sharp and sensuous, pleasant without scurrility, witty without affection, learned without opinion, and strange without heresy. I did converse this quondam day with a companion of the king's who is intituled, nominated, or called Don Adriano de Armado.
Nave hominem tanquam te. His humour is lofty, his discourse peremptory, his tongue filed, his eye ambitious, his gait majestical, and his general behaviour vain, ridiculous, and theorsonical. He is too spruce, too picked, too affected, too odd, as it were, too peregrinate, as I will call it.
A most singular and choice epithet.
He draweth out the thread of his verbosity finer than the staple of his argument. I abhor such fanatical fantasies, as to say doubt when he should pronounce doubedet, debt when he should pronounce debidet, D-E-T, not D-E-B-T. He clappeth the caliph, cough, halif, hoff. This is abominable, which he would pronounce abominable.
Laus Deo bene intelligio!
Foes of peace! Well encountered!
Most military, sir, salutation.
They have been at a great feast of languages and stolen the scraps.
I marvel thy master hath not eaten thee for a word, for art not thou so long by the head as honorificabilitudini tatibus.
Peace! The peal begins.
Mistress, are you not lettered?
Yes! She teaches students the horn book. What is A-B spelt backwards with a horn on his head?
A ba purito with a horn added.
Bah, most silly sheep. you hear her learning.
Arts woman preambulate. Do you not educate youth at the charge house on the top of the mountain?
I do, sans question.
Ma'am, it is the king's most sweet pleasure and affection to congratulate the princess in her pavilion in the posteriors of this day, which the rude multitude do call the afternoon.
The posterior of the day, most generous sir, is liberal, congruent, and measurable for the afternoon. The word is choice, sweet, apt, and well culled, I do assure you, sir.
Ma'am, it is the king's... Oh, the king is a very good friend. The very all of all is. But, sweetheart, I do implore secrecy. That the king would have me present the princess, sweet Chuck, with some delightful ostentation, or show, or pageant. Now, understanding that the curate and your sweet self are good at such eruptions and breaking out of mirth, as it were, I have acquainted you withal, to the end, to crave your assistance.
Sir, you shall present before her the 9 worthies.
Where will you find actors worthy enough to present them?
Alexander yourself, myself, Judas Maccabeus, this gallant gentleman Hector, this swain shall pass for Pompey the Great, the page Hercules.
For the rest of the worthies.
I will play 3 myself. Hey, goodman doll, thou hast spoken no word all this while.
Nor understood none neither.
Allons, we shall employ thee too.
I will present one in a dance or so. Or I will play on the tabor to the worthies and let them dance the hay.
Go, honest doll, to our sport. Away.
Sweethearts, we shall be rich ere we depart if fairings come thus plentifully in. A lady walled about with diamonds, Look you, what I have from the loving king.
Madam, came nothing else along with that?
Nothing but this. Yes, as much love in rhyme as could be crammed up in a sheet of paper. Writ of both sides and all, that she was fain to seal upon Cupid's name.
That was the way to make his godhead wax, for he hath been 5,000 years a boy.
Aye, and a shrewd unhappy gallows too.
You'll ne'er be friends with Cupid. I killed your sister.
He made her melancholy, sad, and heavy, and so she died. Had she been light like you, of such a merry, nimble, stirring spirit, she might have been a grandam ere she died. And so may you, for a light heart lives long.
What's your dark meaning, Mouse, of this light word?
A light condition in a beauty dark.
We need more light to find your meaning out.
Well, you'll mar the light by taking it in snuff. Therefore, I'll darkly end the argument.
Well bandied both. A set of wits well played. But, Rosaline, you have a favor too. Who sent it? And what is it?
I would you knew. Yes, I have verses too. I thank Verone. I am compared to 20,000 fairs. Oh, he hath drawn my picture in his letter.
Anything like?
Much in the letters, nothing in the praise.
Beauteous as ink, a fair conclusion.
Fair as text be in a copybook.
But Catherine, what was sent to you from fair domain?
Oh, madam, this glove.
Did she not send you twain?
Oh, yes, madam, and moreover, some 1,000 verses of a faithful lover, a huge translation of hypocrisy, vilely compiled, profound simplicity.
This and this chain to me sent Longaville. The letter is too long by half a mile.
I think no less. Dost thou not wish in heart the chain were longer and the letter short?
I or I with these hands might never part.
We are thus wise to mock our lovers so.
They are worse fools that purchase mocking so. That same Verone, I'll torture ere I go. Oh, that I knew he were but in by the week, how I would make him fawn and beg and seek and wait the season and observe the times and spend his prodigal wits in bootless rhymes.
None are so surely caught when they are catched as wit turned fool. Folly in wisdom hatched hath wisdom's warrant and the help of school and wit's own grace to grace a learned fool.
The blood of youth burns not with such excess as gravity's revolt to wantonness.
Folly in fools bears not so strong a note as foolery in the wise, when wit doth dote, since all the power thereof it doth apply to prove by wit worth in simplicity.
Oh, I am stabbed with laughter. Oh. Where's her grace?
Thy news, Foyette?
Prepare, madame. Love doth approach disguised. Armed in arguments, you'll be surprised.
Saint Denis to Saint Cupid. What are they that charge their breath against us? Say, scout, say.
Under the cool shade of a sycamore, I thought to close mine eyes some half an hour, when, lo, to interrupt my proposed rest, toward that shade I might behold addressed the king and her companions. Warily I stole into a neighbor thicket by, and overheard what you shall overhear, that by and by, disguised, they will be here.
But what they come to visit us?
They do, and are apparelled thus like traveling musicians, as I guess. Their purpose is to parlay, to court and dance, and every one their love feet will advance unto their several lovers, which they'll know by favors several which they did bestow.
And will they so? The gallant shall be tasked. For friends, we shall every one be masked, and not a one of them shall have the grace, despite of suit, to see a lover's face. Hold, Rosaline, this favor thou shalt wear, and then the king will court thee for her dear. Hold, sweet, take thou this, and give me thine. So shall Barone take me for Rosaline. Oh, and change your favors too. So shall your loves woo contrary, deceived by these removes.
Come on then, wear the favors most in sight.
But in this changing, what is your intent?
The effect of my intent is to cross theirs. They do it, but in mocking merriment, and mock for mock is only my intent. Their several counsels they unbosom shall to love's mistook, and be so mocked withal upon the next occasion that we meet, with visages displayed to talk and greet.
But shall we dance, if they desire to it?
No, to the death we will not move a foot, nor to their penned speech render we no grace, but while 'tis spoke, each turn away their face. There is no such sport as sport by sport o'erthrown, to make theirs ours, and ours none but our own. So shall we stay, mocking intended game, and they well mocked depart away with shame.
The trumpet sounds. Be masked. The mask has come.
Could swear it's been 700 degrees in here since you came in. I could swear that this room has been running out of air, and now it's starting to spin. You make me feel kind of bad, kind of good, kind of everything, yet it doesn't feel like it should. You make me feel kind of wrong, kind of right, kind of anything, and I would change it if I could. I could swear that I'm fainting, I think I'm losing my sight, I swear I'm hitting the floor. I could swear that my stomach just sunk a meter, I'll be dead if I take any more. You make me feel kind of bad, kind of good, kind of everything, yet it doesn't feel like it should. You make me feel kind of wrong, kind of right, kind of anything, and I would change it if I could.
All hail the richest beauties on the earth.
What would these strangers know their minds, Boyette? If they do speak our language, 'tis our will that some plain man recount their purposes. Know what they would.
What would you with the princess?
None but peace and gentle visitation.
What would they, say they?
Nothing but peace and gentle visitation.
Why, that they have, and bid them so be gone.
She says, you have it, and you may be gone.
I say to her, we have measured many miles to tread a measure with her on this grass.
They say they have measured many a mile to try to measure with you on this grass.
It is not so. Ask them how many inches is in 1 mile. If they have measured many, the measure then of one is easily told.
If to come hither you have measured miles and many miles, the princess bids you tell her how many inches doth fill up 1 mile.
Which measure them by weary steps.
She hears herself.
How many weary steps of many weary miles you have o'ergone are numbered in the travel of 1 mile?
We number nothing that we spend for you. Our duty is so rich, so infinite, that we may do it still without account.
Play. Music, then. Nay, you must do it soon. Not yet. No dance. Thus change I like the moon.
Will you not dance? How come you thus estranged?
You took the moon at full, but now she's changed.
The music plays, vouchsafe some motion to it.
Our ears vouchsafe it.
But your legs should do it.
Since you are strangers and come here by chance, will not be nice. Take hands. We will not dance.
Why take we hands then?
Only to part friends. Curtsy, sweethearts, and so the measure ends.
If you deny to dance, let's hold more check.
In private then.
I am best pleased with that.
Soft-handed mistress, one sweet word with thee.
Honey, milk, and sugar, there is 3.
Nay, 2 trays, and, if you'll be so nice, methengol, wort, and malmsey. Run dice, that's half dozen sweets.
7th sweet, adieu. Since you can cog, I'll play no more with you.
1 word in secret.
Let it not be sweet.
Thou grievest my gall.
Gall? Bitter.
Well, therefore meet.
Will you vouchsafe with me to change a word?
Amen.
Fair lady.
Say you so? Fair lady. Take that for your fair lady.
But so please it you, as much in private, and I'll bid adieu.
What? Was your vizard made without a tongue?
I know the reason, noble, why you ask.
Oh, for your reason. Quickly, sir, I long.
You have a double tongue within your mask, and would afford my speechless vizard half.
Veal, quoth the Dutchman. Is not veal a calf?
A calf, fair noble?
No, a fair lord calf.
Let's part the word.
No, I'll not be your half.
A 1 word in secret with you, ere I die.
Bleat softly then, the butcher hears you cry.
Not 1 word more, my friends. Break off. Break off.
By heaven, all dry beat with pure scoff.
Farewell, mad nobles, you are but sea-pale boors.
20 adieus, my frozen troubadours. Will they not, think you, hang themselves tonight? This pert Baron was out of countenance quite.
Oh, they were all in lamentable cases. The king was weeping right for a good word.
Baron did swear himself out of all suit.
Dumaine was at my service, and her sword. No point, quoth I, my servant straight was mute.
Lord Longaville said I came o'er his heart, and trow you what he called me? Oh, such art.
But will you hear? The king is my love sworn.
And quick Baron hath plighted faith to me.
And Longaville was for my service born.
Dumaine is mine, as sure as bark on tree.
Madame, every one of you, give ear. Immediately, they will again be here in their own shapes, for it can never be that they will digest this harsh indignity. Therefore, change favors, and when they repair, blow like sweet roses in this summer air.
Avaunt, perplexity. What shall we do if they return in their own shapes to woo?
Madam, if by me you'll be advised, let's mock them still, as well known as disguised. Let us complain to them what fools were here, disguised like musicians in shapeless gear, and wonder what they were and to what end their shallow shows and prologue vilely penned, and their rough carriage, so ridiculous, should be presented at our tent to us.
But now, withdraw. The gallants are at hand.
All hail, sweet madam, and fair time of day.
Fair in all hail is foul, as I conceive.
Construe my speeches better, if you may.
Then wish me better. I will give you leave.
We came to visit you, and purpose now to lead you to our court. Vouchsafe it then.
This field shall hold me, and so hold your vow. Nor God, nor I delights in perjured air.
Rebuke me not for that which you provoke. The virtue of your eye must break my oath.
You nickname virtue? Vice you should have spoke, for virtue's office never breaks one's troth. So much I hate a breaking cause to be of heavenly oaths, vowed with integrity.
Oh, you have lived in desolation here, unseen, unvisited, much to our shame.
Not so, my lord. It is not so, I swear. We have had pastimes here, and pleasant game. A mess of singers left us but of late.
How, madam? Singers?
Aye, in truth, my lord. Trim gallants, full of courtship and state.
Madam, speak true. It is not so, my lord. We four indeed confronted were with four in curious habit. Here they stayed an hour and talked apace. But in that hour, my lord, they did not bless us with one happy word. I dare not call them fools, but this I think, if they were thirsty, fools would fain have drink.
This jest is dry to me. Fair, gentle, sweet, your wit makes wise things foolish. When we greet with eyes best seeing, heaven's fiery eye, by light we lose light. Your capacity is that of nature, in that your huge store, wise things seem foolish, and rich things but poor.
This proves you wise and rich, for in my eye,
I am a fool, and full of poverty, yeah.
but that you take what doth to you belong. 'Tis were a fault to snatch words from my tongue.
Oh, I am yours, and all that I possess.
All the full mine.
I can give you no less.
Which of the vizards was it that you wore?
Where? When? What vizards? Why demand you this?
There then, that vizard, that superfluous case that hid the worse and showed the better face.
We are descried, they'll mock us now downright.
Let us confess and lead it to a jest.
Amazed, my lord? Why looks your highness sad?
Help, hold his brows, he'll swoon. Why look you pale?
Thus pour the stars down plagues for perjury. Can any face of brass hold longer out? Here stand I, lady, dart thy skill at me. Bruise me with a scorn, confound me with a flout, thrust thy sharp wit through my ignorance, and I will wish thee never more to dance. Never will I trust to speeches penned, nor to the motion of a schoolboy's tongue, nor come in vizards to meet my friends, nor woo in rhyme like a blind harper's song. Henceforth, my wooing mind shall be expressed in russet yeas and honest cursory notes. And so to begin, dear, God so help me, La, my love for you is sound, sans crack or flaw.
Teach us, sweet madam, for our rude transgressions some fair excuse.
The fairest is confession. Were not you here, but even now disguised?
Madam, I was.
And were you well advised?
I was, fair madam.
When you then were here, what did you whisper in your lady's ear?
That more than all the world I did respect her.
When she shall challenge this, you will reject her.
Upon mine honor, no.
Peace, peace, forbear. Your oath once broke, you force not to forswear.
Despise me when I break this oath of mine.
I will, and therefore keep it. Rosaline, what did the singer whisper in your ear?
Madam, she swore that she did hold me dear as precious eyesight, and did value me above this world, adding thereto moreover that she would wed me, or else die my lover.
What mean you, madam? By my life, my troth, I never swore this lady such an oath.
By heaven you did, and to confirm it plain, you gave me this. But take it, ma'am, again.
My faith, and this the princess I did give. I knew her by this jewel on her sleeve.
Pardon me, ma'am, this jewel did she wear, and Lord Baron, I thank him, is my dear. What, will you have me, or your pearl again?
Neither for either. I remit both twain. I see the trick on't. Knowing aforehand of our merriment, to dash it like a Christmas comedy, the nobles did change favors. And then we, wooing the sign, wooed the sign of thee. Oh, for welcome, pure wit.
Oh, Lord. Sir, they would know whether the three worthies shall come in or no.
What? Are there but three?
No, sir, but it is very fine for every one presents three.
And 3 times thrice is 9. Okay.
Oh, Lord. Sir, the parties themselves, the actors, sir, will show where until it doth amount. For mine own part, I am, as they say, but to perform Pompeian the Great, sir.
Art thou one of the worthies?
It pleased them to think me worthy of Pompeian the Great. But for my own part, I know not the degree of the worthy, but I am to stand for him.
Go, bid them prepare.
We will turn it finally off, sir. We will take some care.
Roan, they will shame us. Let them not approach.
We are shame-proof, my lord. And 'tis best policy to have one show worse than the king's and her company.
I say they shall not come.
Nay, my good lord, let me o'errule you now. The sport best pleases that doth least know how.
A right description of our sport, my lord.
Anointed! I implore so much expense of thy royal sweet breath as will utter a brace of words. The schoolmistress is exceeding fantastical, too vain, too vain. But we will put it, as they say, to fortuna de la guerra. I wish you the peace of mind, most royal couplement.
Here's like to be a good presence of worthies. He presents Hector of Troy, the swain, Pompey the Great, the parish curate Alexander, Armado's page Hercules, the petted Judas Maccabeus. And if these worthies in their first show thrive, these 4 will change habits and present the other 5.
I, Pompey, am.
You lie. You are not he.
I, Pompey, am. Pompey, surnamed the Big.
The Great.
It is great, ma'am. Pompey, surnamed the Great, that often field with targe and shield did make my foe to sweat. And traveling along this coast, I here am come by chance, and lay my arms before the legs of this sweet lass of France. If your ladyship would say, thanks, Pompey, I had done.
Great thanks, great Pompey.
'Tis not so much worth, but I hope I was perfect. I made a little fault in great.
My hat to a halfpenny, Pompey proved the best worthy.
When in the world I lived, I was the world's commander. By east, west, north, and south, I spread my conquering might. My scutcheon plain declares that I am Alexander.
Your nose says no, you are not, for it stands to right.
The conqueror is dismayed. Proceed, good Alexander.
When in the world I lived, I was the world's commander.
Pompey the Great.
Oh, your servant and custard.
Take away, Alexander.
Oh, sir, run away for shame, Alexander.
Great Hercules is presented by this imp, whose club killed Cerberus, that 3-headed Canis. And when he was a babe, a child, a shrimp, thus did he strangle serpents in his manus. Judas, I am.
Judas!
Not Iscariot. Judas, I am. You clipped Maccabeus.
Judas Maccabeus clipped is plain Judas.
Judas, I am.
The more shame for you, Judas.
You will put me out of countenance.
And so, adieu, sweet Jude. Nay, why dost thou stay?
For the latter end of his name.
Put the ass to the Jude. Give it to her. Jude, ass! Be gone.
This is not generous, not gentle, not humble. bull!
Alas, poor Maccabeus, how he hath been baited.
Oh, hide thy head, Achilles. Here comes Hector in arms.
I think Hector was not so clean, Timbird.
His leg is too big for Hector's.
More calf, certain.
The omnipotent Mars of Lances Almighty gave Hector a gift!
Guilt, nutmeg.
A lemon!
Peace! The omnipotent Mars of Lances Almighty gave Hector a gift! The heir of Ilion, a man so breathed that certain he would fight, yea, from morn till night, out of his pavilion! This Hector far surmounted Hannibal.
The party is gone, fellow Hector. She is gone. She is 2 months on her way.
What meanest thou?
Faith, unless you play the honest Trojan, the poor maid is cast away. She's quick. The child brags in her belly already. 'Tis yours.
Dost thou infamidize me amongst potentates? Thou shalt die!
Then shall Hector be whipped for Jaquinetta, that is quick by him, and hanged for Pompey, that is dead by him.
Most rare Pompey!
More greater than great, 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 great Pompey.
Hector will challenge him.
By the North Pole, I do challenge thee.
I will not fight with the pole like a northern man. I'll slash. I'll do it by the sword.
Master, do you not see Pompey is uncasing for combat? What mean you? You will lose your reputation.
Gentles and soldiers, pardon me, I will not combat.
You may not deny it. Pompey hath made the challenge.
God save you, madam.
Welcome, Markaday, but that thou interruptst our merriment.
I am sorry, madam, for the news I bring is heavy in my tongue. The king, your father...
Dead. On my life.
Even so, my tale is told.
Worthies, away. Scene begins to cloud.
For mine own part, I breathe free breath. I've seen the day of wrong through the little hole of discretion, and I will right myself like a soldier.
How fares your majesty?
Oyet, prepare. I will away tonight.
Madam, not so. I do beseech you, stay.
Prepare, I say. I thank you, gracious friends, for all your fair endeavors, and so farewell. A heavy heart bears not a nimble tongue. Excuse me so, coming too short of thanks for my great suit so easily obtained.
The extreme parts of time extremely forms all causes to the purpose of his speed, and often at his very loose decides that which long process could not arbitrate. Yet since love's argument was first on foot, let not the cloud of sorrow jostle it from what it purposed. Since to wail friends lost is not by much so wholesome profitable as to rejoice at friends but newly found.
I understand you not. My griefs are double.
Honest, plain words best pierce the ear of grief, and by these badges understand the king. We have for your fair sakes neglected time, played foul play with our oaths. Your sweet love has much deformed us, fashioned our humours even to the opposed end of our intent. Our love being yours, the error that love makes is likewise yours. We to ourselves prove false, for once prove false ever to be true to those that make us both our dear ones, you. And even that falsehood in itself a sin, thus purify itself and turn to grace.
We have received your letters full of love, your favors, the ambassadors of love, and in our maiden council, rated them at courtship, pleasant jest and courtesy as bombast and lining to the time. But more devout than this in our respect have we not been, and therefore met your loves in their own fashion, like a merriment.
Our letters, madam, showed much more than jest.
So did our looks.
He did not quote them so.
Now, at the latest minute of the hour, grant us your loves.
Time, methinks, too short to make a world without end bargain in. No, no, my lord, your grace has perjured much, full of dear guiltiness. And therefore this, if for my love there is no cause you will do aught, you shall do this for me. Your oath I will not trust, but go with speed to some forlorn and humble hermitage, remote from all the pleasures of the world. There stay until the 12 celestial signs have brought about the annual reckoning. If this austere, insociable life change not your offer, made in the heat of blood, then at the expiration of the year, come challenge me. Come challenge me by these desserts and by this virgin palm, now kissing thine. I will be thine. And till that instant, shut my woeful self up in a mourning house for the remembrance of my father's death. If this thou do deny, let our hands part, neither entitled in the other's heart.
If this, or more than this, I would deny to flatter up these powers of mine with rest, the sudden hand of death close up mine eye. Hence, ever then my heart is in thy breast.
But what to me, my love? But what to me? A wife?
Not so, my lord. A 12-month and a day. I'll mark no words that smooth-faced wooers say. Come when the king doth to my lady come, and then, if I have much love, I'll give you some.
I will serve thee true and faithfully till then.
Yet swear not, lest ye be forsworn again.
What says Mariah?
At the 12 months' end, I'll change my black suit for a faithful friend.
I'll stay with Patience, though the time is long.
The liker you. Few taller are so young.
Studies, my lady? Mistress, look at me. Behold the window of my heart, mine eye. See what answer entreats you there. Impose some service on me for thy love.
Oft have I heard of you, my lord Baron, before I saw you. And the world's large tongue proclaims you for a man replete with mocks, full of comparisons and wounding flouts. To weed this wormwood from your brain, and therewithal to win me, if you please, without the which I am not to be won. You shall this 12-month term from day to day visit the speechless sick and still converse with groaning wretches. And your task shall be, with all the fierce endeavor of your wit, to enforce the pained impotent, to smile.
To move wild laughter in the throat of the dead. It cannot be done. It is impossible.
A jest's prosperity lies in the ear of him that hears it, never in the tongue of him that makes it. Then, if sickly ears, deafed with the clamors of their own dear groans, will hear your idle scorns, continue then, and I will have you in that fault withal. But if they will not, throw away that spirit, and I shall find you empty of that fault, right joyful of your reformation.
12 month. Well, befall what will befall. I shall jest 12 month in a hospital.
Aye, sweet my lord. And so I take my leave.
No, madam, we will bring you on your way.
Our wooing doth not end like an old play. Jack hath not Jill. These nobles' courtesy might well have turned our sport into a comedy.
Come, sir. It wants a 12-month and a day, and then 'twill end.
It's too long for a play.
Sweet Majesty, vouchsafe me. I will kiss thy royal finger and take leave. I have vowed to Jacquinetta to hold the plough for her sweet love 3 years. But, most esteemed greatness, will you hear the epilogue that the 2 learned scholars have compiled in praise of the owl and the cuckoo? It should have followed in the end of our show.
Call them forth quickly. We will do so.
Hola! Approach.
This song is of Heims, the winter, and Ver, the spring. The one maintained by the owl, the other by the cuckoo. Begin.
When daisies pied and violets bloom, and ladies' smocks all silver white, and cuckoo buds of yellow hue do paint the meadows with delight. The cuckoo then on every tree mocks married men, for thus sings he: cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. A word of fear, unpleasing to a married ear. He sings cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. A word of fear, unpleasing to a married ear. Cuckoo. When icicles hang by the wall, and all aloud the wind doth blow, and Tom bears logs into the hall, and birds sit brooding in the snow. When blood is nipped and ways be foul, then nightly sings the staring owl. To it, to a merry note, a merry note, while greasy drone doth kill the pot. He sings to it, to a merry note, a merry note, while greasy drone doth kill the pot. To it. The words of Mercury are harsh after the songs of Apollo. You that way, we this way.